Jayam Vishnupada Paramhansa Paribrajakacharya Stoter Sata Sri Shiman Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupada Paramhansa Paribrajakacharya Astater Sata Sri Shiman Srila Bhakti Rakak Sri Dardev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shrimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Welcome to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Morning Class. Dandavad. Hari Bol. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Chita Parakamalam Shri Gurung Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vidangstam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidangscha Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Svapadantikam. Dandavad. Jai Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Hari Bol. Excuse me. Okay, so now we are able to finish the Navadvip Mahatmya reading for this time. And this section is called Divine Vision. This is on page 460 of this book, if anybody has it. Very, very important question. Devotee, since I am now in the Dham, what special service is very important to do while I'm here? Jai Srila Om Vishnupad, Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, acquire the proper angle of vision. This is most important everywhere. Only we are to acquire the proper angle of vision, a new eye. Divya Drishti, divine vision. Diksha, initiation, means Divya Drishti. To pierce through our prejudiced estimation and have a proper view into the reality of things. Very exquisite instruction by Guru Maharaj. That is what is necessary everywhere. Sadhana, spiritual practice, is a whole means to that realization. A difference in our angle of vision. So this chapter is extremely important. There is internal sadhana, and there is more external sadhana. In the beginning, in the beginning, it is true, and Guru Maharaj says it, in the beginning we have to have many external things. This is natural, because that's the only thing we can recognize, is what is external, what is visible to our senses. But we must get some experience of the internal plane. eventually. And we don't have to. We can remain in that position for a very long time. But the fact is that outside of Sharanagati, we will keep our ego intact. We'll go on doing many things, but our ego will stay intact. And that proper angle of vision, that understanding that what I have been knowing, or what I feel I know, is wrong. It is absolutely prejudiced by so many mental conceptions that I have gathered up over so many lifetimes, are giving me a wrong judgment of existence. That will remain. That wrong vision will remain until we come to the plane of internal practice. And that internal practice has been described very vividly. It is a question of surrender. It means that what is coming to disturb me or to make me feel elated, both of them have come to connect me to a higher plane. And I'm doing that by bowing down and accepting that and being open to that more deep connection with reality. That is the internal vision, and that is the internal practice of what is called Krishna consciousness. And we have to know this, we have to understand this. Otherwise we can go on with our, activities of Krishna consciousness without changing our consciousness at all. And this can go on for a very, very long time. Guru Maharaj said lifetimes and lifetimes of practice. So this is a really important chapter, actually, to distinguish between internal sadhana and external sadhana. External sadhana is kind of just just doing the right thing at the right time. And that will certainly give us some experience, no doubt about that. But the internal sadhana is the actual killing of the ego. In external sadhana, the ego can be kept very safe and warm and dry and free from disturbance, because whatever disturbance come, we will blame it on what is external, when the environment has actually come in a loving mood to remove some misconception from us. And that's painful because we're attached to it. We're attached to that particular kind of misery. But anyway, we're going to go on and try to it. So Guru Maharaj said, this is what we're doing. What are we doing? We're dying. The ego is dying in order that we will actually begin to live a real life. Die to live. To have a spiritual life, we will have to die as we are at present. The whole mental system has to be dissolved. And what is the mental system? I like this, and I don't like that. This is good, this pleases me, and this does not please me. And what is the real idea about that? Everything must exist according to the criterion of my mental prejudices. And that's what I think is reality. And how reasonable is that? When you take off in a plane over a city, like Salt Lake City's not even that big of a city, but even like London or Los Angeles or New York, it becomes the size of a postage stamp within less than a moment. And it's full of millions of egos trying to not kill each other when each one of our egos feels that It is the center of all existence, and everything has to go along with whatever my present idea is. It is so unreasonable. It's laughable, but it's very difficult to not think that way. So Guru Maharaj is saying, real sadhana or real special service anywhere, not only in the Dham, anywhere, is to change that paradigm, to change that whole idea and know that the real center is the center, and that is the Supreme Lord. The whole mental system has to be dissolved. It is full of nothing but misunderstanding and prejudices gathered from a selfish viewpoint or standpoint. Everything we know has to be estimated from a selfish standpoint to be very meager or extended selfishness. So everything that we think is clearly true, but it is from a selfish standpoint, we have to understand that it is just extended selfishness, right? That stands to reason. The standpoint of a country or a nation also means extended selfishness. And quote, I am not selfish. I stand for the cause of my country. Someone may speak this way, but such a conception is actually extended selfishness. In the infinite, what is the meaning or value of that extension of a country? It has no meaning. In the viewpoint or in the, with the understanding of some kind of conception that reality is infinite, then what is the meaning of me standing for my country? It has no meaning. We are to acquire nothing less than an infinite standpoint, an angle of vision into the infinite. How do we look at the environment from a universal standpoint? From the standpoint of Krishna's interest, the central interest, the absolute's interest. And we can do that theoretically. No, my interest, I want to be for Krishna, and that's why I do this, and I do that, and I do that. And that's very good. But his interest may conflict with the interest which has been established in my mental field. And then what? Will I be able to adjust to that? Will I be able to bow down to that difficulty and say, my Lord, this is your desire and your grace? Then we can find a different plane where the heart is actually awakening. Not that fake heart that we talk about in this world, which is, the feeling of, breaking it down, the feeling of dopamine and different kinds of chemicals that come up in the body, which are triggered by the mental reaction to things. Not that heart. The actual heart begins to awaken, and that is our real self. And it can only awaken through the process of Sharanagati. Sharanagati is our practice. And if we leave it out, we can go on. We can go on, trying to do things, as Gurudev said. They are doing things. That is good. But what is the quality of that platform which is strong enough to send the rocket into space? That quality is very deep. That quality is coming from Sharanagati. Otherwise, every little thing will still, be pushing us this way and making us this way and all that. And we're very attached to it. So there's a battle, but the battle is with ourself. How do we look at the environment from a universal standpoint? From the standpoint of Krishna's interest, the central interest, the absolute's interest. That leads us to the conception of the absolute as Krishna, the autocrat. Who is beauty personified? Oh wait, I thought I was beauty personified. I thought my mind had the whole thing figured out. And anything that comes to challenge my mind is not Krishna conscious. Very funny. They're not acting Krishna conscious because they just bothered my mind. That can go on for lifetimes of practicing Krishna consciousness. But that idea is actually, and I know this sounds very revolutionary, but it's actually, in a sense, opposed to what is actually sadhana. To go on doing physical things and not surrender is actually making a little cocoon for my ego. And that is the going and feeling, having a misconception that I'm practicing Krishna consciousness without surrender, in a sense. And I know it sounds very revolutionary, but in a sense, it is opposed to actual sadhana. Not in only a sense, it is opposed. But, you know, we need these external things in the beginning, but we have to progress into the internal meaning of these external things as soon as possible, or from the beginning, as Guru Maharaj said. We have to teach these things from the beginning and practice these things from the beginning. Very difficult for the ego. There's going to be a battle. And that battle, we have to know our enemy. The enemy within. Okay. Whatever we draw from the outside is deceptive. It's being processed by a prejudiced mind. It may stand for some time and for a particular section, but it is a relative truth in the misconceived world. There is also a relative truth from the absolute standpoint, but that is another thing. From the absolute standpoint, many pastimes and things are going on, but that's a different thing. That's not what's being spoken about here. From the absolute standpoint, there is a relative truth according to a gradation, a hierarchy, but that is different from the relative truth based on misconception. So in other words, there is a relative plane of progress and a relative plane even within the plane of rasa. But this is not the same as the relative truth based on misconception. Within the misconceived world, everything is a misconception. Or a part of a misconception, or a misconception of different quality and quantity. So sometimes we have this idea that Krishna consciousness means everything's going to become comfortable for me. That is misconception of Krishna consciousness. Not that, oh, now I'm a devotee, everybody has to respect me, and everything should go on the way I like it. we all are dealing with this problem to one extent or another, because that's the ego. It's wrong. And if we want to really understand who Krishna is and live heart connection with that reality, we have to come out of that. It's simply not true. I'm not here practicing Krishna consciousness so that my ego is always comfortable. We have to drop that. That is not progressive. In fact, again, it is the opposite of progressive. That I'm going to get everything in place so that I can do these certain things every day and nobody's going to bother me. And that's what I think a temple is supposed to be. A temple is a matter of consciousness. If I see that the temple is a safe place for my ego and where I can do spiritual things, that is wrong. We are carrying a misconception, and I'm guilty of it. I can see that, but the only time I can see that is with a spirit of Sharanagati. Then I can see, oh my God, what was I thinking? Krishna is an autocrat and the whole environment is under his control. Do I believe that? If I go on in my so-called sadhana and I cannot accept Krishna's autocracy, that he's the Supreme Lord and that he's the absolute beauty and absolute good, then where's my progress? We have to become warriors of sadhana, ready to sacrifice my misconception of myself for the real truth that I am not the center. I never was. It's not like I'm sacrificing, something that's true, I'm just only sacrificing a lie. Within the misconceived world, everything is a misconception. I'm just rereading this. Or a part of a misconception, or a misconception of different quality and quantity. So there are different degrees of misconception, you can say. The guy over there in the park that is lying in a puddle of his own urine because he's taken so many drugs that he's become completely and utterly, hopelessly weak. That's one, and he wants to maintain that lifestyle. That's one level of misconception. Or to become godly within the three modes of material nature. That is certainly a different level of misconception, but it is still misconception. Why? Because those who are enjoying in the heavenly plane still don't even know who they are. When that time is over and they leave that, they don't know who they are, who is leaving it. Where are we going? Did I lose any of my ego in this process? I came to a finer ego, but it was still false. I still don't know who I am. And I don't really know, with full surrender, who is the Supreme Lord. It is vague, Guru Maharaj said. It is vague, that conception of Krishna. Diksha means divya gyan, divine knowledge. And divya gyan means knowledge gathered from the absolute standpoint. Not a self-centered, country-centered, nation-centered, humanity-centered, or even whole animation-centered standpoint. So these are all gradations of misconception. We are to learn nothing less than infinite-centered calculation. We need to think about these things if we really want to practice sadhana. Maybe our ego is having an absolute riot within our conscious self. And our ego is just like, no. I heard someone comparing that to a vampire when the sun comes up. When the truth of the sun comes up, the vampire's like, ah! We have to let that vampire die. The inner self, which is averse to the fact that the Supreme Lord is an autocrat. He's not bowing down to anything. Anything within this world that we have come to the conception of right and wrong is wrong. Outside of full surrender to the autocratic Lord. And in the name of sadhana, we must not maintain that misconception. That is wholesale wrong. He is for himself. What else is he going to be for? Something outside of the absolute reality? Of course, truth is for itself, as Hegel says. Reality must be for itself. What's it going to be for? Non-reality? Even non-reality is within him. It is a choice for the tiny free will of the soul, that I must provide some alternative for you. If you do not want to accept loving relationship with me and you want to be the Lord, I must provide non-reality for you, because that's not true. What you want is not truth. So I also must be the Lord of non-truth. And of course, that non-truth is under the jurisdiction of Maya. Or you could say Satan. But Satan is not independent of God. He has no independence. The Lord has no rival. He's just being given a job for indirect service, not direct service. What value does anything have in bringing satisfaction to the Lord? We are to learn how to calculate how much something can contribute to Krishna's satisfaction. So if we water the root of a plant, the whole plant is satisfied. There's no jealousy there. Oh, how come the root's getting all the water? Oh my God, why don't I get any? By serving the Lord, everyone is served. He is the absolute reality. What is absolute? That is called Krishna. Let's look at it from the opposite point of view. Krishna is the absolute reality. And what is absolute reality? That is called Krishna. And we should learn about that, because we are a part of that. We are not the whole thing. He is the whole thing. What is that whole thing? Is that me? I'm the absolute reality? Some monists want to think this. Oh, it is all one. They're so envious. How did we become, if we are the absolute reality ourselves, how did we become deluded? We wanted to become deluded? We wanted to suffer? Is that deluding energy actually mine? It's just half thinking. It's not really reasonable at all. We are to learn how to calculate how much something can contribute to Krishna's satisfaction. We are to inquire and know that. How much can something supply satisfaction to Krishna? How much can it be used in Krishna's interest? We must convert ourselves into agents that look for Krishna's interest in the environment. In the beginning, we are taught to take a thing and offer that to Krishna. And that's going, but my ego, that can stay safe. We're just taking things and offering them to Krishna. That is the primary stage. Will we continue to do that? Of course we will. But we must also understand that the environment is always pleasing to the Lord. And that if it comes to challenge me, will I offer myself to the Lord? Or will I keep that false self safe and sound? Will I just offer outer things to the Lord? Big difference. In one, there is very little internal progress. And in the other, there is extraordinary internal progress, in as much as we can remember and practice to bow down to whatever comes into my field of experience by the Lord's grace. Why? Because he's an autocrat. Nothing can happen that he doesn't want to happen. There is no non-Krishna. There is only the illusion of non-Krishna. That's called sadhana. That is the internal sadhana. That is the revolutionary thing called bhakti yoga. Yoga means to connect. It doesn't mean just doing things. It means to connect, and connect can only be through surrender. Jai Saparika Shishigu Gaur Chandra Ju Ki Jai. So we have to give up this idea that by practicing Krishna consciousness, I'm going to be able to maintain my safe, secure environment, the environment which is making me feel that what I am right now is safe and secure, and nothing will ever challenge or oppose that. That is completely wrong. It is entirely wrong. If you go to the doctor and he says he's going to do surgery, is he your enemy? Oh, I don't like that doctor. He's going to hurt me. He's going to take a knife and hurt me. I don't believe in him anymore. Of course, that can happen on the relative plane, that surgery will be unnecessary. But when it is necessary, when it is a good doctor, is he always going to do things that please us? He's only removing the disease. He's not going to actually harm me. And the environment is the doctor. Whatever comes to me is the doctor. Do I think it's pleasant? Maybe not. But I have faith. I know that it is good for me. And I bow down to that lesson. And look what will happen as a result. If we don't try this, we will never know what we're talking about when we're singing our songs in the morning, because we sing songs. We say that the Mahaprabhu has come to do what? To teach surrender. Shikai Sharanagati Bhakatera Prana. We'll do that singing because that singing is part of our sadhana. But do we believe it? We must convert ourselves into agents that look for Krishna's interest in the environment. Not that environment out there that has nothing to do with me. No, the environment that is touching me. We are to search out Krishna's interest. Yes, my Lord, this has come by your grace. What is my seva? Gauranga's interest, and give up our own self-interest of different types found in different layers. That's not going to happen overnight, but that is our practice. That is the main thing. That is Diksha. Die to live. And what is wanted? Krishna must be allowed to sit on the throne of our heart, where the ego is now. Oh. And according to him, we will try to look at anything and everything according to his vision. According to what he is trying to show us through our experience of existence. That will be our new vision, Drishtivritti. Oh, excuse me, Divya Drishti. Divya Drishti means what do you want me to see? Not what does my ego want me to see. My ego is having a bad day. Something happened that she doesn't like. Bad day. But the real practitioner of Krishna consciousness goes, what a great day. The Lord came to me in this form to change my angle of vision. What a beautiful day. He is a hero. He is a warrior. He is a practitioner of Krishna consciousness, of bhakti yoga. Yoga means to connect with what? The good stuff, the happy land. It means to connect with the will of the Lord that is flowing through the environment. It is subjective. It is internal. It is our own internal lesson, made, custom made for my own progress. How astonishing is that? How wonderful is that? Is that what my ego's been doing? Not even vaguely. My ego is trying to tell me lies all day long. But the environment is never lying to me. What is coming to me is telling me that it has the whisper of the wind of truth and reality. And I have to learn to listen. And not listen to the mind who's driven by three things. And truth is not one of them. Attachment. It has to be this way, and this way, and it all has to be that way, and that way, and that way. And it's really important that everything is like this and like that. Every one of us knows what that is. I mean, I probably know it more than most people. Fear. Oh no, what if it's not like that? What if this happened? What if that happens? Oh no. The fear, and what happens? Anger. Because inevitably, it won't go that way. Inevitably, it will not go the way my ego has decided it's going to go. Why? Because the ego is just full of nonsense. It's not truth. It's not reflecting the flow of divine reality. Inevitably, things aren't going to go the way we want. And anger can come in different forms. Anger can come in the form of depression, discouragement. All these things are just rebellion. And that's not easy to see, but it is the truth. And only through surrender can that shadow of depression be lifted from us. This is a serious thing. It's not a small thing. It's really important to know this. We can be lifted out of the shadow of depression simply through surrender. And then we can realize, oh, I chose depression over life, over the flow of sweetness, which is actually flowing everywhere. Oh boy, the ego does not want to hear that. The ego would rather be a victim than a hero. I'll just read a little bit more of this section, the first part. Leela fundamentally requires opposition. Guru Maharaj is now going deep into the land of Sharanagati. Not only are we experiencing opposition to our ego, but even there is opposition within Leela. The opposition is not the enemy, it's indirect service. There's direct Krishna. When I first read in Gita, everyone serves me in all respects. My will is being served in all respects by everyone. I'm thinking, what? I can't understand that. Mostly no one is serving Krishna. How is that? I don't understand that. But now through the grace of our Guru Devs, our teachings of our Guru Devs, it's clear. What is looking like opposition is actually indirect service. Even Satan has his service. And it's all within the will of the Lord. Nothing can oppose the will of the Lord. He doesn't have any there's no competitor. But there's indirect, and we have choice. And that will actually, if we see it properly, will give us a step up into reality. We have to know this and practice understanding these things in a very subjective way. First, extremely subjective, and then we can see the whole environment for what it is. This is deep and easy. Easy meaning it's a simple process, just bow down. Oh no. Not going to do it. I'll bow down with my body 75 times a day and call that sadhana. But my ego is not bowing to anything. That external sadhana, in a sense, is in opposition to real sadhana, if that real sadhana is not part of it. It will keep us cozy and warm on the egotistic plane and go on with something external. In a sense, we have to see that it can be actually bogus. And Srila Guru Maharaj says this clearly in sermons. If the external sadhana is not mixed with Sharanagati, it's bogus. And what does bogus mean? It means I'm being fooled. I'm being fooled into thinking that one thing is something else. It isn't. These external practices must be mixed with Sharanagati, or they're just going to keep us stuck in thinking that Krishna consciousness has nothing to do with consciousness at all. So Guru Maharaj is saying, even Leela fundamentally requires opposition. And yet I'm against opposition. It is necessary to help the positive side from a different direction. The more trouble there is to acquire wealth, the more taste there is for it. That's a relative type of comparison. But that is the nature of Leela. There's opposition, and it's very sweet tasting, we hear. And we can understand that. So we should not be cowed down by superficial opposition. It is tasteful. Then even my sojourn in this mundane plane of consciousness will be a source of tastefulness, because the Lord is coming to rescue me through the environment. We want the highest thing, but without undergoing any sort of trouble, without coming forward and making my heart bow down to the Supreme Lord, I'm just going to suddenly become like qualified for Krishna consciousness. It's not true. So I think he's saying that would be injustice. So Krishna, Mahaprabhu has come to give the highest thing, but we must make some effort to take it. We must make some effort to receive that. Otherwise, why vacho vegam manasakroda vegam jiva vegam udarupasta vegam? That's work. Or cheto darpanam arjanam mava mahadev agni nirvapanam. All these beautiful things. But then nadanam, najanam, nasundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamai. Trinadapi sunichena. Try that one. I need help. And the Lord is saying, I'm helping you every day with that. I'm bringing opposition to your selfishness, but you will not accept it. I am bringing opposition to your enemy, but you think I am the enemy. Amadan Manohar Prabhu says, Vrindavan is very favorable. There we wander in the street, people do not insult us. Oh, I didn't turn the page. Anyway, I'm going to read this again. We did read it already yesterday. But I went over to this side of the page, and that's a very good, it's good to reinforce what we've been reading in the next section with what we read the other day. So Madan Manohar says, Vrindavan is very favorable. There we wander in the street, people don't insult us. Here in Navadvip, if we go to the bazaar, people come to bite us like tigers if they will see tilak or anything of the sort. Vrindavan is free from such trouble, so I think I should live in Vrindavan. No trouble. We are confusing spiritual life with the conception of heaven, which is actually in direct opposition to the practice of Krishna consciousness. It's the thing that the devotees never want. Why? Because there's no opposition and there's no progress. Guru Maharaj said, in the heavenly plane, there's no progress. Spiritual life is almost impossible in heaven. It's so distracted by so many pleasures and happiness. We can't even remember there was any problem. It's very difficult to make progress in heaven. And we should not confuse spiritual life and spiritual goal, the actual spiritual goal, with heaven. Never. We should not confuse those two things. That's a mistake. We want opposition. If nothing is coming to oppose my disease, then where's my progress? We must be attentive to our, no, he's here again, Vrindavan, meaning going to Vrindavan in this plane where people are more respectful of people with tilak and stuff. He's not talking about Goloka Vrindavan consciousness. This person is talking about Goloka Vrindavan external. Externally, it's better. There's no opposition. So I should live there. That's misconception. Oh, Guru Maharaj is saying that. I say that with all respect, but Guru Maharaj is saying this. We must be attentive to our highest attainment. In Vrindavan, external life may be comfortable. Vrindavan, in the plane of consciousness, which is being referred to. But the internal process is more difficult. It's too cozy. If we can collect a ticket from here, Navadvip, from Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, then the real Vrindavan, that consciousness will come. The highest plane of purest character is within our fist. So the trouble here ultimately pays us in cash for the highest goal. So I'm just going to finish the bottom paragraph of page 461. I'm going to repeat that. He is for himself and everything is for him. This is so important. If everything is for him, that means everything is conscious. If it is for him, it means consciousness. And Gurudev says, everything here is good. Come to the plane of consciousness. Everything is for Krishna, but I'm the problem. I'm the one that's not for Krishna. Everything is for Krishna and knows it. We are in the plane of misconception. There is a film over my eye so that I do not see that everything is conscious and for him and made of something higher than I'm made out of. And bowing down to any dealings from the environment. They're all very magnanimous. They've come to remove my disease. So let's not stay on this side of the film, but go to the other side of the film. Go to the plane of consciousness. Not that, oh, I'm doing this and that, and that's called Krishna consciousness, and my consciousness is not affected at all. My consciousness is safe, and my ego is safe because I'm doing sadhana. It's not true. Those things that we do must be imbued, invested, completely soaked in surrender. Then we'll see progress. Otherwise, I just can't do this anymore. I've lost all my enthusiasm. And oh no, I'm going to get my enthusiasm back and do stuff again. Okay, that's better than nothing. That's something. But it is not very strong in progress. We have to change our internal mood toward everything. And then that same action will take on a spirit of independence. Because why? Because that flow of divine will is coming and showing me what to do. Shikai Sharanagati, Bhaka Tera Prana. The life of the Bhakta, the life of Bhakti is what? Sharanagati. We're singing it every day because that's my sadhana. But are we practicing it? Do we understand those words? He is for himself, and everything is for him. In fact, even the stuff that's bugging me, it's for him, but I am opposed to that. So I'm staying behind the veil. I'm staying on the other side of the veil from the Lord and from reality. We are to learn how to calculate how much something can contribute to Krishna's satisfaction. And how do we know what's Krishna's satisfaction? It's what's happening. What's happening is satisfying to Krishna. Well, wait a minute, why would Krishna want me to suffer? I'm the cause of my suffering. Krishna's not the cause of my suffering. When the Braja Gopis are selling milk and Krishna's stealing it in the form of a boatman, that's opposed to what they're trying to do. But it's bringing the highest joy to them because their entire heart is beating with Sharanagati. And they're living in the sweet will of the Lord. And we think we're going to make progress without that? What kind of nonsense? It's nonsense. Oh, that's just for the high devotees. That is our practice from low to high, from the beginning to the well, there's no end, it's infinite. But that is what we're practicing. We are to inquire and know that. I'm actually going to stop here. We can read this paragraph again tomorrow. But somebody will say, well, we were just doing this and this, and we got encouragement. We know what to do because we were given encouragement by Gurudev, by Guru Prabhupada, Of course, we're going to get encouragement on the level that we are in. We give a first grader encouragement when he's making a circle and he's got arms coming out of it and legs coming out of it and big, big eyes and a big, long mouth. Oh, that's beautiful. But he's not going to stay in first grade forever. We have to see the synergy of his instructions and not pick and choose. Of course we need encouragement, but we don't stay on that level forever when he's pointing out so many higher things in our sadhana, in our surrender, in our progress. We will think of him sentimentally, and we will not progress in actually knowing him. Oh, he was so nice. It was so nice. It was so blissful to be with him. And he told me this, and he told me that. Of course, these are sweet memories, but we have to keep going in our understanding and in our relationship with Guru. He is representing the infinite. We can't make him into this sentimental person who is always patting me on the head. We have to, I say this with all respect because I also remember him so in this way, and he said this and he said that to me, and sometimes he gave me a little slap, a little slap with his words to try to wake me up a little bit, but not too often, because I'm a baby. But his instructions are grow, keep growing, keep searching, Keep searching for me in the environment, and then you'll know who I am. And we need that type of encouragement, but we need to keep making progress in our search for Guru, in our search for what is Guru, deeper and deeper. And of course, we're going to know how merciful he is more and more. That was very, very necessary to say, but we have to catch ourselves. Too bad you didn't know him, but I knew him. And there's no environment, and there's no way to make progress. But now he's gone. Oh dear. We have to take his instructions and continue. Not external only, or not external at all, finally. All right, strong words, but we are being told this. Keep moving. Gurudev says we're living in the middle plane, not on earth, not in heaven. In heaven meaning not in the upper plane, not on the earth. We're just floating, not making any progress, just floating. And how is the progress made? Sharanagati. Easier said than done. But are we cowards? Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Mahatmya Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Dham Baba Taranga Ki Jai. I'm also, struggling with my ego, of course, so much, and I will for a long time. But I'm going to do it with the help of my friends and the teachings of my guru. We're going to go on with this process, or we're not going to go on much at all. Hare Krishna. Haribo. Hari Yaraya Nama Krishna Yaravaya Namaha. Yaravaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madanama. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raghunath. Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath. H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Vandan. Jai Te Vignana Shabista Puran. H.I. Gosai Jabebad. H.I. Gosai Jamuitanada. Tasabara Parare no more Panchagras. Tandrachana Sevi Bhakta Saneva. Janame More Abhilas. kohe narottamadas. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Sapari Gashi Shri Guru Gaur Chandra Ju Ki Jai, Shri Giraj Govardhan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhansa, Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Jai Shri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Saparshad Sriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Saparshad Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shyamakund Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai, Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai, Tadiya Shaka Mat Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mission Ki Jai, Kol Kartal Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Nitta Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Dhanyavad. I wish I could see the names, the actual names. A funny comment. All right. Hari Bol.